The silence after goodbye. The small town of Willow Bay woke to the sound of gulls and the smell of sea salt. Clara Anderson sat by the window of her blue-painted house, her hands wrapped around a cup of coffee gone cold. 2 months had passed since her husband Daniel drowned in the storm that swallowed his fishing boat. The town had moved on, as towns always do, but Clara hadn't. She still set 2 plates for breakfast, still folded Daniel's jacket every night, still kept the porch light on, just in case he found his way home. Her neighbors said she was strong, but strength, Clara thought, wasn't the absence of tears. It was the art of crying quietly when no one watched. The empty house. Clara's daughter Sophie was 14, too young to understand grief and too old to escape it. She stopped talking to Clara, blaming her for letting Daniel go fishing that day. Their dinners were silent now. Only the ticking clock spoke. Every corner of the house carried Daniel's scent, cedarwood and sea. Every photograph was a knife. Clara tried to pack away his clothes, but each shirt felt like a heartbeat. That night, she opened a drawer and found an unfinished letter Daniel had written. "If the sea ever takes me, promise me you'll keep living. Don't let the waves stop you." Her fingers trembled. How do you live when half your soul has drowned? The stranger in the store. Winter crept in early that year. Clara went to the small town grocery store for supplies. At the counter stood a man she had never seen before, mid-40s, with gentle eyes. He smiled faintly. "First winter without him?" he asked softly. Clara froze. "How did you know?" "I lost my wife 5 years ago." You get to recognize the silence people carry. His name was Eli Turner, a carpenter who had recently moved to Willow Bay. The bench by the sea. Days later, Clara saw Eli fixing the old boardwalk near the lighthouse. She watched from a distance as he worked quietly, humming a song. He looked up. "You can come closer. I don't bite." Clara laughed for the first time in months. That sound, her own laughter, startled her. It felt foreign and fragile. Eli told her he used to build boats with his wife before cancer took her. Grief doesn't leave. It just learns to walk beside you. That night, Clara wrote a letter to Daniel, one she'd never send. "I met someone who understands the quiet." The storm returns. A week later, a storm hit Willow Bay again. The sound of wind against glass brought back every memory. The night Daniel never returned, the radio silence, the flashing lights. Clara clutched Sophie's hand as thunder roared. Sophie whispered, "I miss Dad." Clara pulled her close. "Me too, sweetheart. Every second." When the storm ended, the town was quiet again. Broken fences, fallen branches, and that same unending sea. Eli showed up at her door with tools. "Need help fixing the porch?"
Page 6. Mending things. Together they repaired what the storm had torn. Boards creaked, nails bent, but slowly, the house began to feel whole again, as if healing could come through wood and sweat. Sophie watched from the window, suspicious at first, but then she noticed something. Her mother was smiling. That evening, Clara made tea for two. When Eli left, he said quietly, "You know, sometimes the sea takes, but it also gives." Clara didn't answer, but later that night she wrote, "Maybe grief is just love that hasn't found a place to go." Page 7. Letters and Candles. Weeks passed, and Clara began writing a letter every night, not to Daniel, but to herself. Letters about pain, about Sophie, about mornings that didn't hurt as much. She never read them, just sealed them and kept them in a wooden box. On Christmas Eve, she placed a candle by the window, her old ritual, and whispered, "Merry Christmas, love." Outside, snow fell softly, and for once, she didn't feel alone. Page 8. The Painting. Eli brought her a gift, a blank canvas and paints. "Try," he said. "Sometimes colors say what words can't." Clara hadn't painted since college. She hesitated, then rushed blue across the canvas, the same blue as the sea she feared. By dawn, she had painted the outline of a man standing by the shore, fading into the horizon. She titled it, "The Day He Stayed." Page 9. A Fragile Morning. Clara and Sophie began taking walks again. Sophie opened up slowly, talking about her father, about dreams, about wanting to study marine biology. "You think the ocean forgives?" Sophie asked. Clara smiled sadly. "Maybe it never had to. Maybe it just carries everything, the good and the bad." Page 10. Acceptance. Spring came early that year. Eli fixed the fence for the last time before moving to another town for work. "Will you miss me?" he teased. Clara nodded. "Yes, but I think that's okay. Missing people means you've loved them right." As he left, she whispered, "Thank you for reminding me that light can return." That night, she opened all the old letters she had written and placed them in a paper boat. She walked to the edge of the pier and under the moonlight let it float away. Page 11 through 20. Epilogue, The Light Beyond. Years passed. Sophie grew up, married, and moved to Boston. Clara stayed in Willow Bay, teaching art at the local school. Her students often ask why she painted the sea so often. She would smile and say, "Because it taught me that even after the storm, the waves still dance." One evening, she sat by the same window where everything began. A cup of tea, a candle, and the sound of seagulls outside. She looked at Daniel's photograph and whispered, "I kept my promise. I kept living." The sea shimmered in the fading light, and for the first time, she didn't see loss. She saw love, still alive, still shining.